We're turning now to lawyers for Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni clashing in court. Lively's team is asking the judge to keep her personal information and text messages with high-profile celebrities secret, saying they fear Baldoni's camp could leak them.
Breaking Justin Baldoni news, everybody. Justin Baldoni is too nice. What? Literally, the LA Times put out, my opinion, a hit piece on Justin Baldoni saying that former employees that refused to go on the record felt like he created a work environment that was toxic positivity. There was too much toxic positivity. He was too nice to everybody. He made them sign off their emails with so much love. That's how ridiculous it has become with this attempt to malign this. They literally have nothing on him, right?
Because Blake Lively's PR team has introduced a new term to the lexicon. It's called toxic positivity. They're using that now in the press to describe the real-life horror of what it's like to work for Justin Baldoni. I'm not kidding. He's apparently toxically positive. So lock him up, throw away the key. We're going to talk about that.
The last court session was straight up chaotic. Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, pulled out a mountain of receipts, leaving Blake's team scrambling for a counter. Their strategy? Dragging Justin's past into the spotlight, specifically his old TED Talks, and get this, they now claim that he created a culture of toxic positivity on set. Yep, apparently being too uplifting is now a legal offense. Now, let's break this down. Toxic positivity, basically being so encouraging that it becomes oppressive, is their big argument. Blake's lawyers are painting Justin as a villain for being too nice at work. What's next? Suing someone for excessive high fives? At this point, their case sounds like someone complaining that their boss was too encouraging at work. Meanwhile, their big demand for 2 years of Justin's phone records got shut down hard by Judge Lehman for being an overreach. Before we dive in, hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss any updates. This case is getting wilder by the day, and you know we're going to break it all down.
And speaking of toddlers, Blake Lively's PR team has thought up their next attack on Justin Baldoni, and it's brilliant. It's exceptional. They are clearly spending top dollar, as we have learned, using their former CIA agents, that they've hired them, to convince the public that the real problem in this lawsuit with Justin Baldoni is actually the fact that he's too positive. I gotta tell you, after learning this, reading the articles, reading the deep dive, I am in fact prepared to switch teams. And so I want to show you it. Maybe you're going to feel the exact same way. Check out this headline in the New York Post. This is a real headline. Justin Baldoni accused of toxic positivity by former employees amid Blake Lively lawsuit. And here's a direct quote. "It felt phony." Ooh. Oh, yeah. And that article is actually quoting from another article which was featured in the LA Times. They're the ones that did the real work, the CIA work, to get to the bottom of this very apparent flaw in Justin Baldoni's character.
Blake's legal team walked into court expecting a slam dunk, but left with a participation trophy. The judge ruled against their demand for Baldoni's full phone records, calling it an excessive invasion of privacy. However, they did get a tiny concession, access to some communication records, as long as they played by the rules. But let's be real, this was not the win they were hoping for. Instead of Baldoni's personal texts, emails, and call logs, they got a small window into select communications. It's like ordering a 5-course meal and getting handed a single breadstick. For someone trying to control the narrative, this was a major loss, and her frustration is starting to show.
Good morning, Rebecca. This legal slugfest between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni really putting all parts of their lives under the microscope. Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, asking a judge to keep their private conversations with their famous friends private.
This morning, another twist in the ongoing legal saga between the It Ends With Us co-stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
I am sorry in advance. No, prepare yourself.
During a court hearing Thursday, Lively and husband Ryan Reynolds' attorney arguing that Baldoni should not have access to certain texts between the movie star couple and their high-profile friends. Lively and Reynolds' lawyer saying there is a significant chance of irreparable harm if marginal conversations with high-profile individuals with no relevance to the case were to fall into the wrong hands.
Blake and her team are still pushing the claim that Justin Baldoni orchestrated a massive smear campaign against her, blaming him for the flood of negative press, social media backlash, and online ridicule she's been facing. Every shady headline, every Twitter drag, even the most brutal TikTok critiques, It's all Baldoni's fault, apparently. The problem? They have no proof. When the court asked for receipts, they had none. Instead, they basically said, "We don't have evidence yet, but we're pretty sure it's in Justin's phone." That's like getting pulled over for speeding and telling the cop, "I don't have my license, but trust me, I totally have one." The judge wasn't buying it, and honestly, neither is the public.
Yeah, that's a big one you mentioned there that, she wanted 2.5 years of Justin Baldoni's phone records, every bit. Going back to December of 2022, she wants every call he made to any person, anywhere. I would say, okay, then if we're doing that, I want yours. Every single person, every time you spoke to, we get to see all your communications with Taylor Swift. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun.
If you needed any more proof that Blake is desperate to control this story, look no further than her newest hire, Nick Shapiro. And this guy isn't just any PR rep, he's ex-FBI and CIA. Yes, you read that right. She literally hired a former intelligence officer to handle her crisis. PR Nick Shapiro has a history of cleaning up messy situations. He was a deputy chief of staff for the CIA, later served as a national security advisor in the Obama administration, and has handled PR crises for high-profile clients, including Harvey Weinstein's defense team. Yes, that Weinstein.
And so this is a terrible look for Blake and Ryan Reynolds, but these two seem to be very intent on making every wrong move, in my opinion. Like, they truly believe they are too rich and too connected to have to face any responsibility for their lives. They're just going to hire people who are more immoral than them to handle it, to just make it go away.
So, why bring in a government-level fixer for a Hollywood lawsuit? Because Blake knows she's losing the public narrative, and she's throwing everything she has into regaining control. If you hire a spy-level PR agent, that's not just damage control. That's full-scale crisis management.
What is percolating for you with these two?
I mean, people don't seem to like them at all. And I mean, as you were talking about Brandon Sklenar, even him, like, he can't say anything. And I, on my podcast this morning, was like maybe we give the guy, a sliver of, grace here. Like, he picked the wrong side initially, but, people very much don't want anything to do with anybody that has defended Blake and Ryan. I think what it is people see how serious this, type of harassment is and how prevalent it is in Hollywood, and to have somebody clearly make a mockery of it the way that it appears to me. I mean, we're even seeing Hollywood turn on them. Conan O'Brien's joking about it. SNL's now starting to throw jabs at them. So it doesn't seem like they have much support anywhere right now, aside from their, new CIA dude.
This case isn't just playing out in court. It's all over the internet. YouTubers, TikTokers, and independent journalists have been digging up old footage, exposing contradictions, and breaking down the case. From Candace Owens to Popcorn, Planet, Flossom, Dave Neal, Perez Hilton, and even Megyn Kelly, everyone is dissecting the drama and pulling receipts. And Blake? She's not happy about it. Instead of just fighting Baldoni, she's now targeting content creators. Her legal team has started calling out influencers by name, accusing them of spreading misinformation, even though most of them are just reporting on publicly available court documents. Let's be real, this isn't about stopping misinformation. It's about shutting down people who don't support her narrative. And the irony? Blake had no problem leaking private text to the New York Times when it benefited her. But now that the internet is exposing holes in her case, suddenly she's all about privacy.
Adding, she wants a confidentiality order in place because there are 100 million reasons for these parties to leak information because the PR value is greater than complying with the court's orders. The couple's lawyer also asking the judge to designate other discovery information, like the physical and mental health of the parties, and speaking about children to attorney's eyes only, meaning it can be shared with Baldoni's attorney, but not Baldoni himself.
But in a case like this, you don't typically see a lot of attorney eyes only requests because you want the client, whether it be the plaintiff or the defendant, to see the information and not a third party outside.
Baldoni's attorney arguing that his team has no intent of disclosing any confidential information, adding Lively's team is requesting this only because there are powerful people in the industry. Somehow there is a different law that applies to them.
If Blake was so confident in her case, why is she suddenly pushing for extreme secrecy? Her latest demand? That any communications involving celebrities, yes, even Taylor Swift, be classified as attorney's eyes only. That means the public, media, and content creators would be completely locked out from seeing certain legal documents. Why the sudden obsession with keeping things hidden? The internet is already speculating. Does she know there's something damaging in those files? This is the same woman who ran to the press to put Baldoni on blast. But now that real evidence might be coming to light, she wants it buried. Convenient, right?
What do you think about Taylor Swift and all of this? Do you think she's, I mean, I know their friendship is clearly, screwed at this point, but does she get deposed? Do we end up, hearing from her?
I mean, you're very familiar with Brian Friedman, and I think you and I both know he's going to fight to get that deposition out of Taylor Swift. He's going to try to get her on record and catch her in something. I mean, and listen, what we've said, the New York Times just submitted their case to the judge to get Baldoni's lawsuit against them dismissed. And they're, in my opinion, kind of throwing Blake under the bus by basically saying, like, listen, we're press, we got a story, we ran with the story, we trusted our source. And so I think, as we're seeing with everybody in Hollywood, as we're seeing with Taylor Swift, nobody wants anything in any thread of connection to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds right now.
This case isn't just affecting Blake's court battle, it's hitting her career too. The trailer for A Simple Favor 2 just dropped, and in a bizarre twist, Blake literally plays the villain. The timing couldn't be better to make things even. More suspicious, the studio disabled the comments on the trailer. That's never a good sign. Hollywood loves a redemption arc, but they also love to distance themselves from bad press. If studios start seeing her as a liability, that's a problem no PR fixer can solve.
Do you think it'll get quiet, at least in the 1 year we have until this alleged trial, which there's no way this thing goes to trial, but what do you think happens next?
I mean, I feel like every step she takes is a bit of a misstep, and, there's just so much heat on her. I don't see her going through this for a whole year. I mean, we even saw that she didn't win her case trying to get the phone records. The judge very much tried to limit her scope there. So I don't foresee this going to trial. I probably predict this dying down by summer, and maybe we get a settlement, because I don't understand how they can endure an entire year of just going back and forth on this. Either the judge moves up the trial, which he's already threatened to do with some of the tactics that we've seen both parties play out in the media, or it gets settled soon.
Legally, this battle is still ongoing, but in the court of public opinion, Blake is losing badly. The more she fights to control the story, the worse it looks. Content creators are keeping receipts, and the legal system is setting limits on her demands. The question isn't just whether she'll win in court, it's whether she can recover from the damage this case has done to her reputation. One thing's for sure, the internet never forgets. If you've made it this far, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. What do you think? Will Blake survive this, or is the damage already done? Let's talk.
Let's hope that, Justin gets some justice today.